Now, I've done plenty of beef jerky videos on my channel, but this one's going to be a little special because this one's going to be a little bit Christmas themed. We're going to be making a cranberry jalapeno beef jerky. Now, first thing we need to do is get our eye of round ready to be made into jerky slices. Now, this is a 7-pound eye of round USDA choice. I like using eye of round or top round, which is also called London broil. Those are my two favorite cuts for using to make beef jerky. I asked the butcher to just remove the large pieces of fat in here. There's still a few pieces, a little bit of membrane, but that's not going to make a difference at the end. But what we do need to do is get this in a condition so that we can get it into good slices. What really helps with that is if you have an electric slicer, I do, I'm not going to use it. It's a pain to clean. We're going to just use a knife today. In order to get good slices using the knife, it really helps to get this chilled down a lot. So we're going to put this in the freezer for about 30 to 45 minutes. But first, I want to cut it long ways because I want this to lay flat, and I want the pieces, once they're done, to actually be a little bit smaller than if I cut these into really huge jerky pieces. I'm just going to go straight down the middle here. And this is really following the grain on this. We're just basically getting two halves here. Now I want to get this on a tray. I'm actually going to put it with the flat side up, because if you put the flat side down on a metal tray in the freezer, it's going to really want to adhere to it, and it can be a little hard to get it off. So if you put the rounded side down, it just helps getting it off there once it's already chilled down. All right, this is going in the freezer, and while that's chilling down for 30 to 45 minutes, we're going to get our cranberry jalapeno marinade ready. To get this cranberry jalapeno marinade ready, we first need to process the jalapenos. Now, I have my mortar and pestle out here because I really want to sort of grind these jalapenos down. I have 2 jalapenos that I've done a rough dice on, removing the seeds and everything before that. To this, I'm going to add a good pinch of kosher salt. And I'm just going to get in here and really grind these down. Be careful of splatters when you're doing this. It can get you in the eye. Ask me how I know. Really just wanting to release the juices here and break these down a bit. All right, let's get our cranberry sauce over here. Now, I have my cranberry sauce here. This is 32 ounces of cranberry sauce that I've made. Now, I've done a number of videos on making cranberry sauce, and what I'm going to do to show you how to make this instead of just making it all again is I'm going to insert the video showing how to make this, but this video has a bourbon cranberry sauce in it. The way you make this, just a normal cranberry sauce, which is going to be our base, leave out the bourbon. That's it. Everything else is the same. So you're going to go ahead and watch that now here, and then we're going to go ahead and finish making our cranberry jalapeno marinade. Now I've got my saucepan here on my induction burner so we can see this more easily rather than moving over to the stove. And this saucepan right here is just a little too large, but I don't have a smaller one that works on the induction burner, but it'll work. Now we're going to start with a cup of orange juice. To this I'm going to add half a cup of white sugar and half a cup of turbinado sugar. Turbinado sugar is a less refined version of white sugar. There's still some of that molasses in there. And I'm going to turn this to about medium-low here, and I want to dissolve the sugar in here. So we're going to get a little simmer going. The induction burner has a fan, so you might hear that. And we want to stir this to help it move along and dissolving. We're starting to get that bubbling going in here. Want to stir it around, help that sugar dissolve. You also don't want your heat too high so you don't end up burning anything in here. A lot of sugar. Now to this, I'm going to add some bourbon. This is a 1/4 cup of bourbon. And if you were doing this over flame, I would turn the flame off, but this is an induction burner. There's no ignition source, so I'm just going to carefully pour it in. And now I'm going to add my cranberries. This is 12 ounces of fresh cranberries, the kind you buy in a bag. I'm going to stir these in here. Now both the bourbon and the turbinado sugar is going to give a little bit of a deeper flavor here, a little bit of a richer flavor to this cranberry sauce. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this simmer and cook until those cranberries start to pop. And it's probably going to take, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. Could take less, could take more. We just got to watch it. And as they pop, we're going to sort of use the spoon, or if you have like a small potato masher, you can use that to crush them down a bit, help it along. And if you listen as you're doing this, you can hear some of the cranberries start to pop, almost like popcorn. You just give them a stir every once in a while. You can see those skins starting to split open on them. They're starting to pop. I'm going to lower my heat a little bit here. We've got a good amount going. I'm going down to about medium-low on this induction burner. And you will get some splatter from these, so if you want to throw the lid on kind of cracked so it doesn't completely seal it, go ahead. And as you stir it here, you'll start to feel them getting softer against the spoon. Some of them you can just press up against the side now. You see they're starting to crush. They're easily crushable here. But give them enough time so they start to pop, and then you can help it along. All right, we've been going just about 10 minutes now. As you can see, we got a nice simmer going on here. I'm gonna give it a stir. And I wanna help these along now. I've got my little potato masher here, and I'm just gonna kind of crush them. Just help them break down. And after we're done cooking this, we're gonna let it cool. I'm gonna transfer it to a glass bowl, and it's gonna cool down in there, and we're gonna serve it chilled. But right now, this is getting close to the time we're going to turn off our induction burner. So I want to add one more ingredient, and that is the zest of 1 lemon, and it's a small lemon. It's just a little bit, but it does bring a little bit more brightness to this dish. Just help these cranberries break down. Just use your spoon if you want to against the side. And about now, my temperature is down to low on here. You can see we've got a nice consistency. It's thickening up nicely. That is looking really good. It's not a blended, smooth cranberry sauce. You could definitely do that if you want to. You could use an immersion blender. But these are all broken down and giving up their juice. Really want to make sure that you don't have any whole cranberries left. They're all going to be popped. The skins are going to be separated, but I want to give them a little bit of a crush. Just dragging your spoon through the bowl here, pressing them against the side. That really will do the job. You got some little whole ones right there. If they slip through, it's not going to hurt anything. They're completely tender. They're just still kind of hanging on to their form. Love that color here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my induction burner. And let's transfer this to a glass bowl so it can chill down. Let's get our cranberry sauce into a bowl so it can chill down. Get every little last bit out of the saucepan because that is red gold. Now I'm going to let this cool for about 30 to 45 minutes on the countertop, and then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for a couple hours. So as you can see, it's really simple to make from scratch, and we're going to go ahead and add our jalapenos to this cranberry sauce. I'm also going to add a couple tablespoons of soy sauce and a couple tablespoons of Dijon mustard. Now we're just going to mix this all together. As you can see, this is a very thick marinade we're going to be using here. In fact, let's get a little taste. Just a little kick from the jalapeno at this point, and this is going to be perfect on our jerky. So as soon as that jerky is firmed up in the freezer, we'll come back, cut it up, and get it into our marinade. All right, I have my piece of eye of round here just out of the freezer. You can actually see this bottom side has that little kind of flat edge to it. It sort of froze to it. Now, this is where you can make your decision on how you like the jerky. You can go with the grain and get kind of long slices or across the grain. I prefer across the grain. I'm just going to square the end off here. That's sort of a little piece of jerky that, it'll be a little bit small. And that's about the thickness that I like my jerky pieces, about, 1/8 of an inch. If it goes up to 1/4 inch, I'm not going to worry. I like my jerky when I smoke it not super dried out. In fact, I don't make it for preservation. It is not shelf stable. I keep it refrigerated because honestly, it's gone within a few days in my family. So when it's really chilled like this, it just helps you get a cleaner cut. And as you do this, it's going to start thawing out, so work as quickly as you can. Sharp knife is good, but right here it's got to get through some ice actually. And if some pieces are a little bit thicker than the others, that's fine. It's all going to be good. So I have all my eye of round pieces here in my tub, and we're just going to pour the marinade in here, mix everybody together, get everybody coated. This is the time where everybody gets to be friends. Get in there. Go swimming. Have a good time together. Now this is going to marinate overnight. I'm going to be smoking this tomorrow outside, but about every 3 hours tonight, except when I'm sleeping, I'm going to come in and just give everybody a stir. All right, that's looking good. I'm going to get a lid on this. It's going to go in the refrigerator overnight. Tomorrow, we are going to take it out of here, rack it up, and get it out to the smoker. All right, our eye of round pieces have been marinating in our cranberry jalapeno marinade overnight. This is going to be so good. These pieces of jerky are going to be amazing. Now I have my jerky rack out here. I've got another one off to the side. I'll fill that after this one gets filled. It's on a big tray because this is going to drip and get messy. Now, one of the things is, as I take the pieces out of the container here to lay them on the rack, I'm going to brush just a little bit of the marinade off. I'm not going to pat these dry. Often I will do that to speed the drying process, but there's such good flavor on this marinade with the cranberry chunks and the jalapeno chunks. I want to leave a little bit of it. So it might take a little bit longer out on the grill to dry out, but that's okay. I want the flavor. We're just going to try and fit everybody today. Now we're going to be doing these out on the Camp Chef pellet grill today. This is a jerky rack I purchased from Camp Chef. I don't even know if they sell them anymore. I got this probably 3 or 4 years ago. I just love it for making jerky. It is a real pain to clean though with all these little boxes and this grid, but boy, it really works well for getting jerky on a stable surface and then onto the grill. If any of the pieces touch a bit, I'm not worried about that. There will be shrinkage happening here as these go through the drying process. Let me get some of the information out of the way while we're in here. My temperature is at 160 degrees. My smoke setting is at 2. I'm not going for a lot of heavy smoke flavor today. So on the grill, you can set smoke setting from 1 to 9 or 10. I'm going on a lower smoke setting at 160 degrees, really just to dry this out. It's probably going to take 4, 5, 6 hours depending on the conditions. It's cold outside today. It's about 40 degrees, and it's kind of moist in the air, so we're just going to have to deal with the ambient moisture, that temperature, work with it today. Might take a little longer. Do a little shifting to get more pieces on here. I've said it in I think every jerky video I've made. When I was growing up, jerky was my favorite snack. And today it's super expensive to buy. A pound of jerky is hideously expensive. So to make it yourself and to be able to do that is just an amazing thing. And it's like, I wish I could have done this when I was a kid because it was a treat then. It wasn't cheap then either. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get the other rack loaded up, and then I will see you out at the grill. All right, we're going to come back in a couple hours, just kind of check it, see how it's doing. But it's going to take, like I said, 4, 5, 6 hours today. We're using cherry wood pellets for smoke today, and it smells amazing already. So I'll see you back here in a couple hours. All right, we're at the 2-hour mark. This is about the time that I like to rotate the racks, move them from upper and lower position, just shift them. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, but let's take a look and see how they're doing. Just those first stages where it's starting to look like jerky. I also like to rotate them 180 degrees. You can see this upper part here, which is closer to the back. That's where more of the heat goes out the vent, so those are going to be a little more well done more quickly. We're going to get this closed up and we'll come back in another 2 hours. See you back here in a little bit. All right, we're at the 4-hour mark. Let's go ahead and check our jerky, see how it's coming along, and we're going to rotate those racks again. Really starting to take on that jerky look now. Let's take a piece of this here. Let's grab this one. See, that's still, it's starting to tear, but I can feel moisture still in that. And even though I don't take my pieces to a real dryness, I want it to be more than that. So we're going to let this go another hour and then check it. All right, we're going to close this up and we'll come back in an hour, see how we're doing. All right, we are at the 5-hour mark and we're going to go ahead and check this. I kind of feel, based upon the way it felt at the 4-hour mark, that we're probably going to be done, but we will check it. I like it a certain way, so let's go ahead and see how we're doing. That is some good looking jerky. So let's take one of these thicker ones here. That one is tearing there, but it is not snapping. That's how I like my jerky. Different thicknesses, they're going to behave differently. And that's okay. I don't mind my jerky being a little bit different each one. I just love jerky. So I'm going to go ahead and get this off of here, let it cool down for probably 20-30 minutes, and then we will have a taste. So here is our beef jerky, our cranberry jalapeno beef jerky. The color turned out exactly the way I wanted it. I wanted a little bit more of that red tinge to it from the cranberries. You know, beef jerky generally is very dark, and a lot of times you'll add a seasoning or some other flavor to it that has a color, but it just turns dark, almost black. This time, this really did hold some of that red color. I think you can see that here. We got our little pieces of jalapeno on here too. So let's have a taste. It has that great jerky pull to it. The flavor, the cranberry is there, and the jalapeno, the thing that's nice is, I don't know if you've ever had a jalapeno that has flavor and not a lot of heat. I prefer that kind of jalapeno because I'm not looking just to get my mouth burned. This has that jalapeno background note of flavor, not too much heat at all, and that's exactly what I wanted in this. And I think that's to be expected. You know, the amount of jalapeno I added there, diluted in all that cranberry sauce, and then smoked, you're going to lose some of that heat from it, I believe, and you're going to get a lot of the flavor left.